Getting you closer to the fan artist experience. This is Real Rock Nights, and I've had the pleasure of playing music from this man since I believe 2007, maybe
Yeah.
2008. Was a band called Kick and Kate, rocked ass crack. And well, now he's in a band called Sons on Fire. They're out of San Diego. And we just started playing their single Faded on our sister station a little while ago. Bill, how are you, my friend?
What's up, dude? Long time.
Long time. I was actually when Chris, I believe your manager,
Yeah.
he emailed me. I've been running so behind the last 2 weeks. I hadn't had time to research Sons on Fire. And I
Yep.
wanted you guys on the show.
Yep.
And I emailed him back, and then I saw you CC the
Yes. It
email.
was the same thing. It was like they were emailing back and forth. And I'm like, fucking what? I'm like, we know Shep. I'm like, if I would have known that, we would just reach out to you directly. It wouldn't have been so proper.
I was like, what the hell, man? You got to be freaking
I
kidding me.
know.
And then when I looked at your band pick, and then I
Yep.
saw fingers in there. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, he's still carting that decrepit old bass player around.
He is. I know. It's funny. I told him you said that. He started laughing. So
You guys,
hopefully we get to see you guys soon.
yeah, no kidding, man. I want to see you guys out and about. I can't
Yeah.
wait, man. It's been way too long. You're currently
Way too
sitting at
long.
number 21 on our flagship station playlist. But then I also
Nice.
know, because I personally, after I saw your name CC on email, I was like, what the hell? So I sent out a thing
Yep.
to our affiliates to give you
Yep.
guys a bump. So I believe you're sitting like we have you at 25 spins, so I believe you're probably sitting at least 25 on all their stations also.
Cool. That's
Now,
awesome, man. Yeah.
Sons on Fire. When did you actually put this band together, man?
So, dude, like we both kind of separated. Like, I think Taste of Madison might have been our last show. I think we did Taste of Madison. I forget what year, and then I think we did a couple shows. We ended up in Amarillo, and then my wife's from Texas, and dude, you knew. I mean, we crisscrossed the country 8 friggin' times on that
Oh,
cycle, and we were
you
just
were one.
burnt out.
You were one of the hardest working bands I ever saw in my life, man.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, it wasn't luxurious. I mean, we were doing everything on our own, and I mean, we played big shows, but unfortunately, you're driving yourself all over the world, and you're driving crazy, and so at the last show, we kind of said, hey, let's take a break. Frank ended up moving back to New York. I moved to Austin, and then the rest of the guys stayed there, and then and it's funny because I got the same interview I'm doing that I had with Oz. I got coming next week, but it's kind of the same story. He said was, what have you guys done? And I told him the same story. So we took a little bit of a hiatus, and then that hiatus went to like 6 months. Then it was a year. Then it was, holy shit, everybody's getting the itch again. Then it was, fuck, it's been 2 years. And then we did a reunion show with Velocity in Phoenix, and shit, probably 2-3 years ago. Shit, might even be longer than that. And it was sold out. And we're like, wow, man, let's, maybe it's time to do this again. And
Okay.
and it brought, we saw a lot of the old faces, and it was cool. And everybody's like, man, it's like you guys never stopped playing. It was tight, and it was like, it was just old hat. It was cool. We got it. But then logistically, we're all separated. And at the time, not everybody had studios, and it kind of went away again. And then Johnny and Chuck and Trevor started this incarnation of Sons on Fire probably 2 years ago, and it was called 91 Proof. And they dabbled around San Diego a little bit. And I was, I started a bunch of restaurants in the Midwest, in Texas here, and I was kind of just getting my mind out of it for a little bit to just take a break and just kind of come back more energized. But then they called and they're like, what do you think of this? I'm like, I really wanted to do something heavier. I wanted to do along the lines of like a Seven Dust meets, I don't know, some of this Avatar meets something else, something a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. I'm like, the songs are friggin' good, but Trevor was the singer, and Trevor's a great singer, but he's our guitar player as well, great lead guitar player. And I said, listen, I said, We've all wanted to play with everybody in this band has always wanted to play with other guys that are in our band now in their old other bands or record or do something. I'm like, all right, listen, this is the time where the timing's right. We can make this work. I said, listen, I'll play with you guys, but you guys got to get Darren from One Theory. Darren was like a Phil Anselmo, heavy metal singer. But when he would go into these choruses, it was so melodic and cool. And I'm like, man, there was just something about him that I'm like, the best way I can describe this now is Dave Draymond. So Draymond was doing Disturbed stuff, but now you're seeing he's doing these covers and he's singing more.
Yeah.
Darren's friends are freaking out because they didn't realize how great of a voice he had. And I think Darren's freaking out because he didn't realize how great a voice he had. And then when his friends heard it, they can't believe that it's him. And it's a totally different style. So every one of us is different. Me and Johnny were, he's Rush, I'm Motley, Chuck was Metallica, Darren was real heavy, and Trevor was like Johnny Cash meets Waylon Jennings.
You got the gambit covered.
Yes, but when we put all the stuff together, I brought a heaviness, and obviously Darren brought a heaviness. So all the songs that we thought were too bluesy or too, and I don't want to say that not in a bad way, it was more like Blackstone Cherry meets Buck Cherry, kind of that bluesy rock. And I'm like, I wanted something heavier. So I added heaviness to it. Darren's vocalist of it, and it changed the songs. And we said, listen, this is going to be a project band. And none of us are going to jump around in a van or a bus and crisscross the country anymore. We're not 20-year-old kids. We're not going to do any of this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in. We're going to make 4 songs. So we went in. I flew back home. I'm from meeting with them. They made 4 songs, sent it on Pro Tools. I got it. I learned the songs. I flew back to San Diego where we rehearsed the songs. So we said, wow, this is really kind of good. Then we said, all right, everybody, we'll see you later. Everybody go home to their lives. Go do your thing. Then we're like, when are you coming out here again? I'm like, I'll come out every couple of weeks. I'll fly out and we'll rehearse and do whatever we need to do. So we fly out again, and we had a couple people come over, and they listened to the tunes, and they're like, dudes, these are pretty good. And we're like, well, we're just dabbling. It's just a little project band. No big deal. We're not, I didn't want to go backwards. So anything we wanted to do, I obviously wanted to be better than what it was, but we didn't want to have pressures on ourselves. So now we got these songs, and then now this is probably September, October of last year. So now fast forward like November pre-COVID, we're like, well, we've gotten good feedback from our friends. Let's go record these things. All right. Well, we all went in our dime, no timetable, nobody rushing you, no producer. I mean, the producer we use, Frank Torres, is great. He's one of our friends, sings in a band called Unset in San Diego. Really great, kind of like a Seven Dusty band, phenomenal. We always liked, because every time we saw his band live, their sound was amazing. So we grabbed him and we said, listen, we wanted all new guys, nobody we've ever worked with before, newbies. We can cut their teeth with them and go in. We'll go for 10 hours a day, whatever. And we paid for it ourselves. And it was no time. It was the first time in my life. I think I've done 7, 8 records in my lifetime. It's always, oh my God, hurry up. You're using somebody else's dying. This time was like, screw it. We're going to take our time. We have nothing to lose, dude. I mean, Shep, exactly. At this time, we weren't even a band. I mean, it was a project. So we recorded the songs. Well, now we got these songs recorded, and people are like, wow, they're better than we heard when you were rehearsing. Well, now what are we going to do? Well, I sent it out to one label, my buddy at Pavement. He's got Puddle of Mud. He's got Tantric. He's got Candlebox. And
no way, you did one?
Oh, yeah, Tim King. Tim King's with them from Soil. He's one of the guys at Pavement. So, well, I started with my friends, just like you and Randy Hawk and Jose and Lou Brutus and L.A. Lloyd. And I went to my friends. So I sent it to him. And we're thinking, he might think it's okay. And he goes, dude, different from you, but the songs are good. And we're like, well, we're not selling out, but we are running commercially now because our plan is going right to radio. There was no touring, obviously. We're going right to radio. Let radio dictate what this does. So here we are. Didn't know what we had. Played for our friends. They loved it. Now we're recording it. Sounded great. People loved it. Then we sent it to a label. They love it. So now we're like, okay, now this is February, right before COVID this year, February of 2020. We said, well, let's just roll the dice again. We never even played a show. At this point, Shep, I think I played maybe 10 times with these guys total. Wow. Rehearsals. So we go do a friggin' show at San Diego. Sold the friggin' thing out. 500 kids. First show.
The very first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now there was other bands on it but I mean, it was billed as like former members, Kicking Kate, One Theory. So I mean, all of us in San Diego, and with the exception of POD, we were kind of the biggest in terms of rock in that area. So I mean, it wasn't that hard.
So did you have a lot of the old Kick and Kate fans out there in
totally,
the Discover
totally,
Sons?
totally, yeah.
Okay.
And then the same friggin' thing happened. We did our remake of Come Together just because we didn't have a set list. So we're like, let's just throw Come Together in this. We play Come Together. The San Diego Tribune walks in again, just like with Kate, and says, "Who are you guys and what are you guys playing?" It was like a total time warp. So they're like, "We want to do a story on you." We're like, "We're not even a band. We're like a project that just made some songs that played a show." So, dude, it gets even fucking crazier. So now, fast forward, but now this time I've sent it to all our friends. Randy's had it, Oz, Lou Bruce, and everybody's like, dude, it's really good. But I didn't know if they're blowing smoke. You know what I mean? It's like, they're not going to tell you it sucks.
Yeah.
But so I get it. So we're like, okay. So now the label goes, okay, shit, COVID's here. Now what do you guys want to do? We're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's put it out. They're like, you realize this is a worldwide pandemic. Everything stopped. We're like, you know what? More eyeballs on us, less competition. No band would be as stupid as we are to put out new music at this time. We can maybe stand out. We can get a jump start on radio. Screw it. Let's go. They set a September 25th date, but we're going to radio on the 22nd of September. So everything's going great. It goes to radio. We get the first week reporting back. Dude, we're number 1 on Foundations and we're number 2 on Billboard most added.
Yep.
For a new band that hasn't done shit.
Well, that's why I wanted you on the show, is because number 1 most added on Foundation. We work really closely with Foundations.
Yeah.
And actually this whole show is for the secondary rock radio charts.
Yep. And that's what we killed on.
And so, yeah, number 1 ad, I was like, holy shit. Okay. Yeah. I got to get these guys.
Yeah. So all of a sudden that comes out. So now like everything, like Watch What You Wish For, all of a sudden lands in our lap. And we're like, holy crap. We might have to actually make a band out of this now. So we're like, now we're like scrambling. We didn't have a website. We didn't have social media. I mean, we're like running at the 25th hour trying to put everything together. Meanwhile, I'm flying back and forth to rehearse with these guys. And then all of a sudden, Randy puts a call into Lou Bruce. He wants to put it as his What's in Lou's playlist.
Yeah, awesome.
So he does that. Then L.A. Lloyd puts it in his pick of the week. Then Randy's like, Oz is going to. So all of a sudden, all the friends of ours that, I didn't want him to tell me that it sucked. All of a sudden, legitimately now we got some data back. The numbers are good. People are liking it. We're getting spins.
Yeah, momentum going.
The momentum. And we're like, holy crap, man. So now they're back there. I'm here. Like I said, I'm just, like I said, getting all our stuff together. We're going to have to figure out, when I'm going to rehearse and what we're going to do. They're sending tracks back and forth. So it's all good, man. It's all good. It's just a mind warp kind of, because it's like, for being gone for a couple of years, you don't know what to expect. But, when that old saying, like, you get by with a little help from your friends.
Yeah.
Dude, everybody, man. It's just like, and between me and you, man, I mean, we always shot it straight. I think the song's good. Do I think we have better? Yeah, I think we have better. Did I think it was going to do this? Hell no, dude. I mean, even Kate, I don't think we came out this fast. The problem with these guys is like Trevor and Darren, they never really had any of this before. So all of a sudden I'm like, hey guys, you want the good news or the bad news? They're like, give us the bad news. I'm like, we're number 2. We're like, well, what's the good news? I'm like, we're number 1 on the other chart. Well, shit, you're not going to stay there forever. It's going to go down, So it's like, I wish we would have started at like 20 or 30 and then we slowly crept up,
Did they have deer in the headlights looks?
Totally, dude. They're like kids in a candy store. They're like, I just can't even believe it. We're seeing like stuff in Japan and Australia, and I mean the labels got it everywhere. And then we originally came out digitally. We don't even have hard copy CDs right now.
Oh,
we've just done this 100% digital, and now they're like, oh, guys, probably going to need CDs, and now we're supposed to be doing a video for Faded in November 15th in Phoenix.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's going to go down. I think it is, but now, everybody has to be tested with COVID. We got to sign liability and insurance.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh man, it's like, I forgot all these little nuances and these little things you had to do again, but it's been cool, man. I mean, it's,
so what does it feel like now? Kind of, you were talking about, basically how the younger guys in the band were like, okay, well, that's cool. That's awesome, man. How does it feel to you to be a seasoned veteran behind this? Like finally in a band, watching these probably younger versions of yourself years and years ago.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
Cool. It's cool because it was weird because Chuck is known these guys. Well, I guess we probably all knew each other, but like I said, I moved. So these guys have been longer friends than I have, but Chuck told me, he goes, dude, just be ready because, we got a lot of good friends and a lot of things and we know how to run business. And they're like, you're just not gonna, if they tell you we're doing something, just be prepared. And they're like, oh, come on, we're not really going to do this. And dude, to see that thing come out and just see the name Billboard chart, dude, I had to like step back a little bit and go, man, that was like a lifetime of, you wanted to see it, even the foundations thing. I mean, it's like, I remember hearing about that, but I mean, I never really paid attention to it. But our whole premise of this project now was strictly radio. And, it just, we just can't take the time to crisscross the country and play to, 50 people. And then the next time 100 and then the next, we don't have time to build that. We're like, we'll throw all the money we got at it. We'll go right to radio and people are either going to say, you guys are great or you suck. And if we suck, guess what? We're done. We won't push the pedal to the metal. Yeah. But it's the opposite. So everybody's really like freaked out and cool. And, it's just, it's cool right now, man. It's just really cool because everything's going good.
Well, I'm happy as hell for you, man. It's like when I saw that you were part of Sons on Fire, I was like, rock on. Was it always a thing in the back of your mind to go back into music? Were you out for good or were you just taking a little recess?
No, it was, dude. Like I said, when we took that hiatus, I didn't realize it would go by as fast as it did. And pretty soon you're like, man, it's been like 5 years. It's been like 6 years. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, I dabbled and I probably got a little bit better because I was playing in my house all the time. So, I worked on some things I never had time to do before because you were already playing. So in that instance, it's like, I like drums again. I kind of walked away. I was more bitter about the business end of it of, it's not an easy business, as and it's a big boys game. And if you don't have money, you can be, dude, I've seen so many great bands that just, don't ever go anywhere. And that's the
you and me both, man.
Yeah. It's like, that's the mind blower for me is, I just hate the business and I hate the way, how political, but at the same time, I'm not complaining. It's just because the business, what we're doing now is again, with our friends, but ultimately, not every program director is going to like what you do, or not every program director is going to be like you or Randy or Jose or Lou or L.A. Lloyd, or, not everybody's going to like your stuff. And it's like, well, why not? And they won't, some people don't return phone calls or emails, that's the kind of stuff that.
Oh, or how about the deal? How about the deal when they don't return emails and phone calls until they need you?
Dude, like you wouldn't believe. Dude, I had so many bands that even from the Kicking Cake days that, I wanted to go out and do shows with them. And they had a pop at radio a little bit bigger. It was weird because we'd always jump on each other's coattails, but it was always like us helping others. And then when I wanted to call in a favor, I'm like, hey, we're thinking about getting Kate. Okay, we'll bring on some dates. Crickets. Nothing ever came of it. I'm like, you know what? This just sucks, man. I mean, we never did that to anybody. It's a hard enough business, but I mean, people that are supposed to be your friends and that want to help you and do things, it's like, that's the part that jaded me the most. I said, you know what? I'll sit in my room and I'll play. And you know what? Maybe I'll do jazz, or maybe I'll do a, country thing, or maybe I'll do, who knows? I don't know, but I'm going to do it on my own terms because I just can't deal. It just seems like every time I put the keys in somebody else's hands, I always get screwed every single time. So we're like, listen, we're all going to hold our own key, and everybody knows their strengths and weakness. I'm running the business side of it. These guys just write songs. Johnny keeps us kind of, in line with everything in a timeline, and Chuck and Darren write songs with Trevor, and everybody's got their piece and nobody oversteps anybody's bounds. And it's like, now it's kind of my time. It's like I told them, I said, write the songs. I'm gonna, send them to me. But I mean, for drums, I mean, I really can't do that much input. They'll do a drum machine to it, but then I'll spice it up. But I said, when it comes to the business side, you guys then sit back and let me do my thing. And so it works out well. But again, it's back on our terms again. And we don't really answer anybody. Pavement's great, where it's a label, but it's an artist partnership where we make decisions together, and whatever money's spent, it's together, and the radio is handled by them, but we do it with our management as well because of all the relationships we have.
So they don't dictate what you have to do, where you have to,
No.
because I have this show isn't old enough. This show is only about 2 months in, but on the flagship station, which I've had for years and years.
Yep.
It's a prerequisite to hitting FM. So I have probably about 15 bands right now that are fairly decent sized on FM stations now that I started playing before anybody knew who the hell they were. And I had a working relationship with all these people. And you know how we were talking about the people won't have anything to do with you until they need you. Okay.
Exactly.
I won't call the bands out, but I think it's kind of funny where I will work side by side with these people for about 3 or 4 years until they get signed.
Yep.
Once they get signed, maybe they'll do 1 or 2 things with me, but then they start getting added to all these stations, and their record company then starts dictating, okay, well, you can do stuff with that person, you can do stuff with that, you can't do stuff with that station. And why do you want to worry about a little digital radio station? So it's
same thing.
The record companies, it's almost like some of these people join a cult. I can't even get a hold of some of these people are friends of mine, and I text them and I get some agency or something.
Dude, it's stupid. I mean, we've been the same. I mean, you've seen them with JJO days. I mean, what we do with you guys over there was what we do with every radio station. I mean, you guys get inundated, and that's what people don't understand is you guys get inundated with shit every day with bands that, we're the next thing. This like, but you know what? As soon as you play them, they're gone. Dude, I've done things with Randy. We've done things with other stations where we do promotions with them. We do it needs to be a win-win on both sides, and don't be a douchebag and use these guys because they're people too. And you know what? It will flip one day and you might be on the bottom of that totem pole and they're going to need you. And you know what, Shep? Tell them to stick it.
That's I remember, but I'm kind of like you in that respect. You know how you were talking about getting screwed over and that's like, I'm kind of one of those guys that forgive and forget. And I do too much, man. I do want to let you know that kicking Kate was actually one of the reasons why I went the way I did with my station.
Really?
With KSHP.
Explain. Tell why.
Because you guys, it was, I think it was Bandcamp 2008, I believe, or 2010 or something like that. Anyway, you guys did the pre-show party.
Yep.
You did a full set, at Bandcamp, and then you came and you did the post-show party for me. And I mean, your lead singer's voice was thrashed.
Frank was
he could barely speak. I mean, he was trying to introduce me. His mom was there. He was trying to introduce me to his mom. And he sounded like a raspy old 80-year-old man.
He did. Yeah.
And then I started thinking about it, and of all the stations I worked at, that station was the best to the artists. I started thinking about the way that JJO did stuff, and then I started thinking about the way other stations I worked with did shit. Then I started thinking about when I was at XM and the way they did shit, and I'm like, they're kind of, for lack of a better word, but this term speaks the best. For the most part, they're like a lot of these artists. They're making them like work their asses off. They're making them like do all this multiple shit.
But dude, you got to do it. I mean, these bands, I mean, you got to strike when the iron's hot. When a radio station wants to give you a spot to do something, it doesn't matter if you're sick, dying, you got to take a crap, you got to pee, you can't do it. It's your mother's birthday, your dog died. You got to do those things, man. I mean, those type of opportunities don't come around at all. I mean, we've done post shows, we've done pre-shows, we've done after shows, we've done shows on top of shows with JGL. We did in the studio one day. I mean, you got to do that stuff because you never know who's going to hear you that can make a difference. You never know if you'll ever get that chance again. You got to capitalize on every single opportunity you get because there's a million bands that'll cut their nuts off to get one chance just to play a pre-show just because there's a radio station there because they want to hand their demo to a radio guy. You can't take it. Doesn't matter how big, how small, how little you get dropped, you get re-signed. You can't burn those bridges because I am the reason. What I'm in right now is the reason why we are where we are is because of we've never done that. And I can call somebody from 5 years ago or 10 years ago and they'll pick up the phone and they'll listen to me and they'll help me if I need it. But if we were douchebags of these guys in the past, it doesn't matter if you were, an assistant program director or if you were the runner to get coffee or if you guy that drove the van, it doesn't matter because everybody gets promoted if they're good. And the guy at the bottom eventually is not going to be there anymore. And the guy you pissed off that you might have just shrugged off or played Rockstar to might be a PD one day that you're going to need, and he's going to remember what you did to him.
Yeah. Yeah. That is my cat's in the way of everything here.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. That is a good point. It's like people do remember what you do to them. And there are a lot of people out there that won't keep on giving second chances. Like I said, I'm one of those guys that ends up like getting screwed over. There's a couple of those bands that where nobody, when I started working with them, got up to the point where they started ignoring me. Well, now they've been pushed back down. They're on their third record label right now, and their current contract is kind of sucking. So all of a sudden, I'm starting to get texts and tweets, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good enough now. All right, I'll do an interview.
But you know what, dude? But you know what? Eventually, that's gonna screw with your mind. Maybe not with theirs because they're too friggin' stupid. But don't let people just keep doing that to you because eventually it's going to eat at your own brain and change your views or your outlook on other people. I wouldn't give them that much power, man. I mean, I would maybe talk to them and be cool and be, fine with them, but I wouldn't bend over backwards anymore. If you have an open slot for somebody like that, maybe throw them a bone. But once somebody does that to you, dude, there's a million other bands that are going to want you. And there's going to be somebody that's going to be genuine that will stay with you at the beginning, to the end, to the middle, to the top, to the bottom. Those are the ones you want to surround yourself with.
Okay. All right. Great words from a great man.
I don't know about that.
Oh, come on. You're a drum god in my eyes. San Diego band Sons of Fire. Bill, thank you so much for being on Real Rock Nights. I really appreciate it. I want to let you know, too, that every band that I interview on this show, you guys, you're in the Real Rock Nights family now.
Nice.
I use this show as a vehicle. So you have anything come up or anything, shoot me a text, like send me an email or something. I want to be on your show such time. I want to promote this, blah, blah, blah. You're in, man. You're automatically
cool. We'll put it all over our socials and, we'll just, send me text. Let me know what's going on. I mean, hopefully when this thing ends up, we can get back out there again and doing what we do.
Okay. Awesome. And I'll send you some graphics too, if you want.
Need them. Yep.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Bill, thank you very much. Real Rock Nights rolls on. Monkey Boy. Yep. His segment. He's got 3 new tunes for you, and he's going to be throwing them at you next right here on Real Rock Nights.